failure is a constant. This is part of the process. If you try to make very special images, and you cannot make a very special images if you don't try to fail, because if you play it safe, it will never kind of go beyond a certain level. There are certain kind of failures that I try to never miss a deadline. I try to never make totally embarrassing work unless I can do it for myself. For myself, I gladly allow embarrassing work. So I try to embrace failure, not when I work with clients, but for myself. So I have almost like a laboratory where there is no such thing. I just try out different things. But then once I actually work with people, whether it's a client or whether I show it to people, when I make a promise, then I have to make sure that I really know my craft. I cannot afford any kind of failure, so I try to kind of move the failure in a safe space where it doesn't matter. The idea is when you draw, there's always vanity in drawing. You know, like the reason like we draw for other people, so we want people to like our work, and then you invest time in the work, so of course you want to protect it, and you want the drawing to be nice, and you start out and maybe it starts looking really nice, and then you don't want to destroy it, so you start holding back. But I think that's similar to sports, where you have to be on the attack up to the 90th minute, and if you start becoming careful, and once you start playing defense, that might be as bad as trying too hard. And so I thought it was really like practicing in sports, where you just try to jump too far and fall down an abyss, to just ruin a drawing and not be afraid to kill a drawing. And so the one thing that you risk is a lot of paper and ink, because I realized it made me freer, and this is something I really have to practice, because otherwise there's always this moment where you get tense especially at the end, and I found that I often ruined drawings by not staying kind of very optimistic or overly optimistic at the end of a drawing. Well, nobody needs it until you do it. And if you create a very special image, then people realize that they need it, but only after they see it. And this is different from, let's say, medicine. If I have a headache, I know I need a medicine to cure my headache. Whereas, like with beautiful music, for example, once you listen to Mozart, you know that you need Mozart. But if Mozart didn't exist, nobody could imagine that something like this existed. So I think the idea is to create an image that's so compelling that people only realize how that thought or that image was maybe in a very small way necessary. But basically you have to create not only the solution, but you have to create the problem for which the drawing then is the solution.